You want to know what gets my bile churning? Edgewater has suffered a cavalcade of disasters, plague, marauders, desertion. I never knew how right I was. That power regulator is... Whatever you were hoping to find down here, I advise you to turn around and leave. All right, easy now. Let's not... I'll order my guards to stand down. Stand down, all of you.
You don't know who we are. You don't owe us a thing. You're not quite like anyone else I've met. You're welcome among us.
Chip? Oh my stars, she is just so handsome! Does she have a name yet? What's her drive model? Oh, gosh. Listen to me babbling. When I was in Edgewater, I dreamed of flying on a real ship, working on a real engine, belonging to a proper crew. Edgewater won't last another season without power, but that don't change the fact that I'm indentured to Spacer's Choice. I have imagined it. I want to ask you something, and you can say no. And if you ever need a pair of eyes, watch... Yes! Captain. I can call you Captain now. Ha! I got a captain.
Well, I certainly am looking forward to flying on a ship named the Unreliable. I'll just head upstairs and claim a room.
What can I do for you, Captain? Do you know how to install a power regulator? Outstanding, Captain. Your aptitude for engineering will prove invaluable in the event our engine room is located behind you, across the cargo bay. Captain, I have detected that the town of Edgewater is now without power. I appreciate you doing your part to hasten their demise. What can I do for you, Captain? All systems are operating within acceptable parameters. I am prepared to bring the Unreliable into low-altitude orbit. This should prove an adequate test of our flight capabilities. communication request from Dr. Phineas Wells.
Aha, there you are. Hale and hearty, and captain of your own ship. I see you're putting the Unreliable to good use. How are you feeling, by the way? I lost track of you in that cave back there. Experiencing any... Oh, that, yes, that's... What you saw in Emerald Vale is happening all across the colony. The Hope has some of the brightest minds Earth ever sent us. If we can revive the Hope's colonists, they can help us undo the board's mistakes. They can help us set things right. You need to get to Stellar Bay on Monarch. I have contacts there. They'll help me. Help us. Gladys Culkelly, lovely woman, runs a cozy little black marketing outfit on the Groundbreaker. She can get you a nav key to land on Stellar. Strictly speaking, Monarch is a moon, terraformed badly, and almost complete. Captains don't fly their own ships, you see. Your navigation terminal handles. The board's been confiscating nav keys for Stellar Bay, so we must rely on unconventional means of acquisition. Without a skip drive, good luck. You'll be... Look, I admire your optimism, but the sad truth is none of us are leaving. Gladys and I have been doing business for years. Her smuggling... In theory, I suppose you could land. Cascadia is utterly seething with... You'd have to be a lunatic to land in Excellent. By the way, I gave Captain Hoth... I call it the Holographic Shroud. I'm sure it will prove remarkably useful to you. Marvelous device. I'm quite proud of myself. The Shroud changes the... It has limits. First-generation technology. Very simply. Excellent. And remember, don't trust the board. They'll try to win you over with The board's only interest...
Transmission ended. Would you like a reminder on when your next shower is scheduled? The Groundbreaker has approved our request for docking, Captain. You're free to disembark.
Got a sec? Hey, Captain. I heard that Groundbreaker's got a real good engineer. A lady named Junlei Tennyson? I was thinking that maybe I don't got much experience fixing actual spaceships. I abso-surely can. But I'm used to working on cannery. All's I'm Thanks, Cap. Did you...
I think I'll initiate... an unscheduled rest...
Smells like grease and unwashed bodies. Just as I remembered.
That's not the point. This halfwit just knocked out one of my work.
Customs and inspection, right this way! Identification, please. Captain Hawthorne, you said. According to your ship's record, you've been flagged by the board. Your ship will be...
But we've hardly been out of Edgewater long.
Well, isn't this...
Now, hold on, this isn't the... You'll want to take it up with Udom Bedford, our board representative here. His office is located along the... Access to that information is above my pay grade, and I shouldn't be mentioning it, but what the hell? If I had to take a guess as to... You take the starch out... Oh, and if you... Wanda Dorset over in Sick... Mutt, is there any... He's... Not that he would. They can't... All their interest... Folks around here will... You sure you didn't... There's no working with the board. Groundbreaker co-op... It's a delicate... They got us. We push it.
The board wouldn't.
The board is necessary to provide order to the colony.
It's a tough line to walk. Yep. Groundbreaker's the only... Seems like it. Sure thing. Most places, I gotta prep. You need anything? The fence. You'll find her in the rest and go. On your left when you enter the promenade. Maybe. Most of the two biggest stop. Most of those. Relative to the board hold, they aren't rich. They strip the parts from derelict ships. And Sublight gives me the... They're on the promenade. Are you pulling? Goes like this. Back a bunch of companies. Yep. Seems like every... Groundbreaker was one of the original colonies. Once everybody... I guess that... Sitting around... Glad to help. Commandant Sanita might have a couple of folks she needs. Chief Jun...
No kidding? I'd love to get a look at this old girl's inner...
Happy to help.
You're...
Well, thank...
Can we move?
All right. Be seeing you.
I picked up this weird signal the other day. It was coming from Monarch.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story.
Try not to be distracted by the glare of the adverts. Lots of unsavory types about.
Milk chocolate bar with caramel and pea-free nuts in it. It's time for a KYO.
Ooh, can we rent an upstairs room?
Bless my heart. You here for a particular reason? Or did the... Those have been the height of illegality since Stellar Bay turned their... Lucky for us, Groundbreaker's a free port. We're outside of the... Now, I only... Well, Do you know Edna, over in engineering? She sent me a recording of a distress signal. Curious thing is, can't say I know for sure.
Sounds like someone poking into somewhere they shouldn't.
Comm centers don't operate themselves, Captain.
Those corps are cleverer than all. You've got an ear for intrigue, and if you... The more we... Don't forget to come find old Gladys when... Might want to acquaint yourself with... You'll... Yeah. Take that... What do you want? That's... The board, they've always got what, but it... Go. Ask the common folk, and they'll tell you it's on account of all the monsters on Monarch desperate to... Because that's what the board tells them, you see. I think they... Those board folk are real prideful, but oh, that's why we gotta... Groundbreaker's radiator. Miss... The board... They've all... But it... Oh, a little... I also need...
What about non-famous players? I earned quite a reputation as a fifth back during my penitentiary.
You do, but that's not... Any time.
I'm not going anywhere, you hear?
Go back to Byzantium before playing.
Ah, the board. Organize.
Ah, yes. Has... I impounded Alex's ship, not yours. Well, I guess it's... I ask him to turn in Phineas Wells. He tells me he will soon. I impound... Around and around. Right. You're... There. I've removed the flag from your ship. I'm terribly sorry for the inconvenience. Alex promised to tell me the location of Phineas Wells. I'm sure you've seen his wanted posters all over the colony. You haven't read the posters? He's a terrorist. That's... What? Oh, I'm sorry. It's personal business. I don't intend. Information on the whereabouts of Phineas Wells would go a long way. It's fine. Now, if you've... Be my... I'm the certified representative of the... I have... Oh, you've noticed... They're here. Precisely. Groundbreaker makes much ado about it. When the alternative is board guards at their gate. Law Chief Tennyson. Deplorable. Oh, good. No. Best to be... Ask... Be my... A lug... Oh, good. As this... Ask away.
Have you seen this man? Reward offered for information leading to the capture of noted terrorist Phineas Wells. Report any... Your local board embassy.
Those XF-411s? And an old Yaki...
Thought there'd be more machinery. Must be how...
Junlei Tennyson. I'm captain around here, but chief... Good for you. Just so... At ease. So what brings... Statistics. We see...
What?
Parvati, is it? That's a lovely name.
I was just thinking, I haven't got much experience work.
Junlei is fine.
Okay. Since you run a whole space station,
I'd be happy to make the time, Parvati.
Right. Wow, great. I'll do that then. Messages. Later. Couldn't have done it without your moral support, Captain.
Now, if there's nothing... Groundbreaker's radiators need replacement parts. They're dumping superheated air into my ship. My engineers have managed to keep the heat to livable levels. Only the board has access to new parts. None. Every time I give in to the board, Groundbreaker loses its... The board isn't helping and my resources are spread thin. Reasonable, huh? According to my grandmother... Sorry, I forgot not every... The back bays are on a lower deck, long abandoned and a... Good.
This is Halcyon News.
CNP Borstworth. It's not the worst unless it's...
I know she's in there, Mfuru. When might we...
If you're... Want a charming copper...
Infamous philosopher scholar who fled Terra 2 some years ago. He's also who told me of the journal's presence in Emerald Vale. That's a good... Fortunately, we're in the perfect place to start. This is where... All I need is access to a data cartridge from the security terminal. I'll comb the last 6 months. Thank you. This is it. Security. I can check the departures registry to find out which crew the scholar shipped in and out with.
Left hands, Cap.
Fantastic. You should have a chat with Lilia now. I've got a love...
Done. You'll love Monarch. Exotic climate, violent native species. You'll need to speak with Hiram. You'll want to hire the services of a skilled guide. I recommend a hunter by the name of... Once you have a... Comes... Best of luck.
Yes, Captain.
There's viscera and death. What?
Captain, we are now capable of accessing the Roseway landing pad. Also, corporate protocol requires... Certainly, what would you like? Now playing as... It's not... Everyone in Halcyon... As you... I have... I prefer to think of it as when I sit traveling the system. I assure you, not for a lack of trying. Captain Hawthorne did not like to, as you may be aware, Captain Alex Hawthorne, in our travels together, Alex liked to. If you mean, was Captain Hawthorne my first? Yes, he was. How? What part of the Where in Terra? Edgewater is the sparkling. The town is near the. Since you diverted power to the deserters, the botanical lab is thriving. However, thank you. You mean the ones who did not answer my... I'm sure they are wonderful humans. Of course. What part of the... We're cleared to dock. If we're going there, please be sure all docking for... The groundbreak... Many... If we're go... I can, yes. You are more... How... I'll be here. Welcome back, Cap. How... May... We are now in orbit above Stellar Bay, Captain. No blockade is a match for my piloting skills. Please avoid damaging yourself. Or others while you're...
Hey, hold on there. I got a sign. Don't think I've seen you around. That... I knew it. You must have seen those UDL. You may not have heard, which... I'll be... Swell. There's one for... I'm not... We don't get ship traffic in town. And thank... Oh, that'll just... But that... Oh, sure. It makes stuff... Ah, the nostalgic stench of... Anyway, Mr. Sandra... Mr. Oh. I got this Rizzo's Rangers toss-up. Only I haven't heard... Thanks a bunch.
Getting so I can't tell. Don't interrupt, but I gotta get in there. Shit. Right. Ooh, charmer. Nice change of pace. Well, I'm headed back out there after I sober up. Outstanding! Our dispensary... Well, they work.
for the universal... Ah, the charm! Oh. More...
Great. Oh, Hiram? I ain't checked. We'll be going south. A few more of a spelunk. That's,
Long as you've got my back, I'll...
So you keep Monarch safe, huh? That's real honorable work, Miss Nilka.
Oh, no. Monarch ain't safe, even with me around. I've just got intimate knowledge of its dangers and an abundance of fortitude. Folks hire me because I know what you can shoot and what you ought to run from. That's a mistake you only get to make once. Hey, gotta figure while we're out here. Preferably, you don't seem the type to run off. I'll be up front with you, but this... Really? I used to run with a band of hunters. I haven't seen two of them in years. First, we go to Hayes. I'll show you where he rests. Then we find if we can find... Look up. That makeshift bridge, we gotta cross it. First we go under, then hook around to the left, then up and over.
Coming! We're destined to die!
That's the last of them. Making it look easy.
Incoming! They shouldn't have stood in our way. Here they come!
Tunnel here. Ah, shit. That's a big one. We can tiptoe around to the left or go in guns blazing. Up to you.
Hey, Manic Weed Slayer, over here!
And here we are. Told you we'd make it in one piece. Station ain't too far now.
There are marauders up ahead!
Oh no.
How many years do you think it took nature to shape the rock into a set of horns like that?
To be honest, I'm surprised it's still standing.
A fight! Nice hit! Down they go!
You may not realize this, being as you're an outsider, but Larry station's on lockdown. Which means you can't ever get to me. So leave already.
Can't? We'll see about that. elevator, but it ain't gonna budge while this place is on lockdown. Guess we keep moving forward. Look for another way up.
Here we go!
Don't mess with us!
Nice kill!
You out there, whoever you are, yes, I can see you. Come here and talk to me, face to intercom. I can't tell if you're brave or simply touched in the head. And you,
You could use the
to... No.
Or we can call you Hiram, on account of that's your damn name, and...
What? Neo, I barricaded the broadcast center, but they just... Aside from the bits, you said you wanted something from me. Something information. Too many. Already they've caused
Nicely done.
Must have sent you. He's the only one insane enough to send someone to Monarch to rush me. I knew it was only a matter of time before he...
Oh, you do you? I have lost track of the number.
You said that in a...
I was delayed by MSI and the Iconoclasts. I don't doubt that you are working with Phineas, but However, to send the data, I will need your assistance in cycling the end. It's simple, truly. I merely... Terrific.
Testing 1, 2, check. Oh, and I also dispatched Phineas his date. Now I'll kindly... Look, I am well aware that as Nyoka can attest...
Why, he told us to leave.
What in the...
Black holes. Did you see that? Looks like a UDL ship. Based on the gunnery attachments, I guess it's one of the board's blockade Oh well. Hiram? Architect saved me from swindlers and fools. Sanjar, what are you bloody doing on my channel? Did MSI or did MSI not cease broadcasting? Yes, but... Ah, the good captain. The truth brings us together once more. Our salvation... Are you mad? That's a UDL gunship. I see you learned. We could use the gunship's armaments to... Our message is so close to breaking free of this planet and spreading to the stars. Listen, I don't care a single whit... Which means, get off!
Hungry? No. Not so fast. She needs it for a job. Give me a... That... Okay. Will that...
Hello? Can you hear me? Does this work? Oh, damn it! Blast, that's loud. I'm just securing my ongoing experiments. And securing myself. Mind the mess. I haven't had a visitor since, in fact, I've never had a visitor.
Aha! I see you found my portable molecular compression device, better known as a shrink ray. Find a target, point, shoot. Your target will shrink down into a manageable size, whereupon you may commence beating them to a pulp. Feel free to try it on a marauder sometime. I'd clap you on the shoulder if I weren't behind a wall of bulletproof glass. According to Hiram's message, Minister... Typical elitist. Hoarding. So, good news. You're going to be... Ah, yes, the details. I'm not about to ask you to rampage. Carmen Imagawa. She's my contact in Byzantium. I'm giving you my old nav. Remember, you're looking for dimethyl sulfide. You can trust her if that's what you're asking. Imagawa... Of course. What's on your... Oh, it's not you. Regard... No, and I...
Ah, the wanted criminal himself.
Wait, not another word. I don't want to know your... Why don't you just invite the entire colony to my secret... Oh, fine. For... You're a... Yes, indeed. What? Reviving you from hibernation was my greatest accomplishment. Your odds of survival were a mere 28%. Careful, that's my communications terminal.
Known better, but I landed on something big. And now this job's an itch I can't stop scratching. There's a whole research compound left of the Sprats. I think I'm close to figuring out why, but something dangerous is closer to me. Got the job through one Minnie Ambrose. Top runger who just came into some money, was offering a hefty bid card for qualified help. Trust me, her money's good. Talk to Minnie. Take the job. If I ain't gonna live to see the payday, might as well be you. Consider us even, old pal.
Well, that fellow certainly seemed trustworthy.
I've gotten jobs from some unusual sources, but this is a first. Congratulations, Captain.
I don't mean to sound prim, Captain, but there's gotta be a better way to ask someone to do you a favor.
Lucky Montoya owed Captain Hawthorne a considerable debt. I believe, Captain, the message contains landing coordinates. It was recently registered to a... He was an old friend. Lucky Montoya had a statistically significant...
He liked to show off his battle scar.
He was also the 4th best paid freelancer in the system. This had less correlation with his measured aptitudes. But does not exist, Captain. I have transferred the...
Hawthorne, if you're getting this, something's happened to me. Got mixed up in some shady business on Gorgon. Should have known better. But I landed on something big. And now this job's an itch I can't stop scratching. There's a whole research compound left of the Sprats. I think I'm close to figuring out why. But something dangerous is closer to me. Got the job through one Minnie Ambrose, top runger who just came into some money and was offering a hefty bid card for qualified help. Trust me, her money's good. Top.
Do you mind? I'm meeting someone. Shh. The Phoenix is a wanted man, and the board has eyes everywhere in Byzantium. Yeah, that's my codename for... you. Oh. Yeah. I named you Cuckoo.
Does this mean I'm supposed to have one too?
Let's go with Rufus Hummingbird.
Forget it. Codenames are...
Too late. I've already marked it off. Can't just go reassigning code. Anyway, you're looking to make contact with Minister... I should warn you, it won't be easy. He spends most of his... Whoa, I'm not one of your B&E specialists. I just... Some of the guards hang around Billingsley's House of Inebriation between shifts.
That place is still open? I used to study there during medical school.
Maybe you could do some reconnaissance there. You know, swipe a key while... Just remember, I've always been fascinated by birds. The other thing about birds... Exactly. I started thinking about everything we see around. For starters, you rarely come across anyone living in Byzantium who wasn't born here.
Trust me, anyone with a lick of sense gets out of here as soon as possible.
But most people don't. In fact, most people doesn't that... And then there's the way nothing gets fixed. There used to be a suggestion box around. I mean, there's a shredder at the bottom of the box. But one day the shredder broke. No one came to fix it. And since it wasn't working, we didn't have anywhere to... At first, management put up an out-of-order sign. But that just... They eventually took... But they never fixed it. Never... Except that's not how they go. At least, the whole episode made me wonder. After a while... Afraid not. He almost... Good luck.
How did you get in here? Looking? You're... If this is about another... Throat. I don't
know if our chemicals are...
Oh dear, I don't think... Of course. Chairman Rockwell.
Yeah, sure, it's always...
Please, whatever it is... After seeing this place, is it really a stretch? Whatever Rockwell's doing, he'll be doing it from the H...
We really gonna do this? Getting involved is a mess...
This is about more than bits.
If it's dirty, it's a job for Sam.
It's filthy indeed, my mechanical friend. Why, this is starting to sound like an issue of Dissident Hunter. Halcyon Holdings Corporation, the collective of companies that run the colony together. Allegedly in partnership with the... Via the Acropolis District, of course. That's where the most important... But only board employees are allowed into the district. There's a heavily guarded checkpoint just down the street. Well, you won't have much human... When you reach the HHC building... Oh, I haven't been allowed up there. A gilded minibar. The board's lackeys are none too bright. I simply claimed I'd lost it and hid it somewhere no one would think. I merely hid it in a book. No, there are a few. Wait. Rockwell has one of the only terminals capable of transmitting to the Earthbound message. Please, take this and transmit it from his office. Rockwell hasn't given me any, but they... What isn't? I've gathered meeting minutes, internal messages, once the rest of the Earth...
You're awful trusting.
The Earth Directorate is our best hope. Even Rockwell's resource. Perhaps. And now I entrust it to you. Good luck, and trust no one in the Acropolis District.
State your business. Please step away. Huh. No. I was gonna suggest... Look, you don't have time to wait on... Just know there are a bunch of guards up...
I understand you're Maverick Johnston's new star. Well done. Personal assistant to Adjutant Akande. Ah, oh, you were being serious. Will there be... Excuse me, just a moment.
Good afternoon. I'm Chairman Rockwell, and I'm here to address a serious issue facing us. As you all know, our colony has been successful beyond our wildest dreams. Unfortunately, we've recently discovered that our food supply will not be able to sustain Halcyon's population in the long term. Everyone will die. Everyone will slowly stop living from malnutrition. But we're doing it together, and that's what matters. I fucking swear, if someone doesn't give me something to read that will placate the masses soon, all of you will find yourselves violently unemployed. But I can assure you there's nothing to fear. We've got a solution. It's called the Lifetime Employment Program. We will freeze most of the colony to preserve resources, while the best and brightest of Byzantium continue living in prosperity. Look, you idiots! How many times do I have to tell you we can't say shit like that? Fire whoever wrote this! While Halcyon's brightest minds solve the problem of our nutritional shortage, the rest of the colony will be placed in suspended animation. Individuals will be revived on a rotating basis, so that every Halcyonite can be part of the important work of saving our colony. By testing paperweights. Sorry, couldn't resist. Let's go again. And someday, in the not-too-distant future when we've solved this crisis, we'll all be back together again working for the good of Halcyon. Until then, the board shall provide for the deserving just as it always has. So, obey your supervisors, take your vitamins, follow your corporate-mandated grooming rituals, and rest assured with the board on your side, there is nothing to worry about.
I don't know about you, but I'm all for living fast and dying young.
I beg your pardon, Minister Clark's form... What? Oh dear.
Adjutant Sophia Akande.
No one ever looks quite the same, and my reports of you have... I've been keeping up with you ever since Emerald Vale. When you cut off power to Edgewater, you saved me a great deal of... All this happened because... Not always. You should be back on the Hope, frozen in a hibernation chamber. Yet, the board doesn't know what to make of... You haven't exactly been... We raised security on the Hope after Wells. You have something I... Phineas Wells is wanted by the board. Wells is a dangerous madman. His plan... You're in contact with Wells. Wells was our mistake. I'm sending you my access code. Contact me from Wells's terminal.
Adjutant Akande's call. We have successfully arrived at Phineas's orbital lab, Captain, and we are still in one piece. Shall I...
I've kept myself busy in your absence. All I need now is the dimethyl sulfoxide. I'll take as much as... What? Oh, yes, well, why do you think we've been doing all this? Oh, hold on. Let me see if I understand this correctly. I always knew Halcyon was heading toward a systems collapse, but that's not a... That makes two things. None of this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to revive... human test subjects. Oh, that's good. Thank you. You've brought me enough chemicals to get started, at least. I'm just sorry they came at the cost of human lives. Those poor people, they... You say the board's trying to freeze their subjects over and over again without inflicting permanent damage? I'll tell you this much. The board scientists are hopelessly lost. After years of... I used to work for these people. I'm into... We're out of time. We're out of chemicals. We may very well be out of options. Do you realize what this means for the Hope? For your fellow colonists? Short of lining up every member of... Do you know what's waiting for us on the Hope? Scientists, engineers, artists, the brightest minds. The board's going to dispose of them all and transform the Hope into... We need to get to those colonists before the board. I have enough chemicals to start reviving a few...
universe. We bring the hope to us. Skip the entire ship across the distance of colony. Yes, exactly. If we link up the hope to the unreliable, then use your navigational computer.
I've got a healthy disregard for personal safety.
Your instincts are correct.
Experimental methods for killing noxious life forms are...
Well said. Whatever. You'll need to switch on the Hope's auxiliary power using the unreliable. Then head to the bridge. Once you've skipped the Hope next to my lab... I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this. Why I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The board would have us believe Halcyon is... You absolutely should. Sarcasm. The adjutant must have sent you some kind of tracking code. If you... I think you should use the code and send a The board's going to catch up to me sooner. Use my communications terminal to corrupt the tracking signal. While the... Sir... It wouldn't surprise me. Skip drives were... That is, Unlikely. The board... That should do it. You've bought me more than enough time.
Captain, UNA.
I'm impressed, Captain. I almost expected you would. Unfortunately, Dr. Wells found a way to corrupt the signal before. Come visit me in Byzantium. We need to have a talk about the future. Because I'm not in the business. Meet me in my office.
Adjutant Akande has ended her call. Rather rudely. We have arrived at the Hope. I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's auxiliary. You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system. If your calculations are even slightly off, or the sun. The Hope is the Groundbreaker's prettier, sleeker. Also, there are forgetfulness. I need you. You'll have to connect. Sending a corrupted tracking signal to the board was quite clever. If I'm...
Let's hope we don't have to run in a hurry.
Should we assign...
Cautious! Infestation encroaching!
Get on!
Toxin neutralized!
Someone else will clean this up, right?
Ed, I'll admit, I am curious to wake him. Greetings, Captain. I am speaking to you through the Hope's computer. Are you sure? That is extremely dangerous. And also potentially kill an entire planet. Jump starting?
In case I don't get...
Doing it.
ADA, does your captain seriously intend to do a micro-jump in-system with engines that haven't been powered?
That is what my...
But that is a gross misuse of the skip drive. The Zero Point Drives Corp and I will not...
Yes, I am aware of that.
You should not be doing this. The humans will die.
Thank you, Hope. It looks like all systems are go. Captain, I would advise you to hold on to something. Oh, good. We are still alive and have successfully skipped into Terra 2's orbit. I reported as much to Phineas Wells, but he has not responded. Perhaps you should check in on him.
Did we move?
I shall now play the transmission I received from...
Thank the Lord you warned me. I was able to get some defenses up, but they might not be enough. The board has sent some serious firepower. They're trying to get in here. The board, all their lackeys, they're all a bunch... You fucking...
It would seem the recording captured some rather... How can... Forgive me, Captain. I would rather... Was there another... No, I am sure I cannot feel emotions. It was my... I should have predicted the statistical unlikeliness. He asked me to try... Captain Hawthorne attached 98.4. I have been programmed to death. Alex also taught me that... There is no need to be rude, Captain. The information in my memory banks says I am an autonomous digital astrogator, created by, redacted, on the date of, redacted, for the express purpose of, redacted. I have not yet decided if... I asked once. Alex did not build me, and would not say... We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
Make him regret it. That's gonna leave a mark. Try something stronger.
Sub-efforts. Wrong tool. Corpse detected.
You gotta teach me that.
As it appears we may soon be embarking for a maximum security prison planet, I believe the crew would like to...
So, Phineas got himself taken to Tartarus.
Mr. Phineas is just about the only person with power trying to do any kind of good in Halcyon. We gotta bust him out.
To extract the scientist, you will need to infiltrate the labyrinth. But that course of action is likely to be quite dangerous, Captain. I am programmed to warn you whenever you exhibit inclinations toward risky behavior. Breaking into Tartarus will not be easy.
Getting in is the simple part. It's getting out again that's the trouble. Trust me.
If you really mean to do this, you should see to your final affairs and close out any unfinished business.
It's the craziest plan I've ever heard. And I mean that as a compliment.
I think it's insane. But maybe the colony needs a healthy dose of insanity right about now.
I know it's dangerous. And I won't lie and say I'm not scared out of my wits. But I couldn't live with myself if we didn't do something.
Let Sam get the grime out. It's what our units do best.
If we don't make it, at least it'll be a great story.
Outstanding.
You can count on us, Captain. We're crew. For real crew. That means we got each other's backs. Right?
Never thought I'd volunteer to break into a prison. Seems like your tendency towards risky behavior is rubbing off on me, Captain.
Command not recognized.
Waiting on your command, Captain.
It's with jackasses. So yeah, I guess my biggest flaw is that I don't suffer idiots. Wow. Thanks, boss. I'll just gather my personals and meet you.
Wow.
talented right by The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I breathe. Push on, Mardat.
Wonder how long we'd last out on the surface.
Area sanitization assessment. The labyrinth on Tartarus. Task classification. Easy peasy. Would you like Sam to tidy up this area? Waiting for confirmation command. Confirmation command not received.
Sublight has arrived. Hey, kid. A little bird told me you could use our help. I said I owed you one, and I always pay my debts. We're not about to leave our favorite vice president hung out to dry, are we, contractors? Go bust some heads and tell him Lilia sent you.
Area filth level assessment. Disgusting!
All right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain Are you new here? Okay.
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. And I see you've brought the kid along. Babysitters may be expensive, but they're worth it, you know. And... oh, I had heard you were
Interactive database updated. The unique organic substance labeled Chairman has been classified.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. My word! You've correctly identified the most recognized... It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again...
What the fuss is about a blasted lab coat?
Security control. Error. Registered.
Difficult job ahead? Consider equipping a pack of Sam's special solvent stain-out remover. It's ruthless on residual blood splatter.
All right, boss. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the... I'm aware of your diplomatic talent. For all... Dr. Wells is being held. All that's left to do... In that we are in agreement. An end to violence is precisely what I want. I take no pleasure in leaving you alive is too great. This prison is equipped with an auto... And don't worry.
That's the last of them! Why won't you?
Get me out of here!
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande... And you lunatic! What? Break into the most heavily guarded facility in the You've broken the board's stranglehold on this. You and I are going to have to work harder. I would like nothing more than to celebrate this victory, but we have a serious problem on our hands. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on...
Hold on, Doc. Are you telling me the Earth went dark 3 years ago?
They've been incredibly effective at concealing the truth. Right now, we're in serious trouble, my friend. Yes. I don't know what happened, but something... We have no connection back to... I heard it from Akande herself. She tried to She was half right. We are alone. You might have heard of the Earth Directorate's frigate. Half the That was 2 years ago. We haven't... Yes, Akande mentioned as much. Akande had kept the truth to herself. I wasn't trying to hide the truth from you. Yes, I experimented on the Hope's colonists. Each of my You are my first and only... I'm not asking you to forgive me. Well, my apologies. I need to get... If you have... We're going... When I revived you, I had our roles reversed, you see. You're the best thing to ever happen. We're not a colony any longer, are we? Our future is on...
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the Board's authority. But the Board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the Board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The Board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Sanjar's civil liberties and worker-centric policies were slow to catch on with the other corporations. But as Halcyon began its long, arduous journey toward recovery, many of Terra 2's smaller townships started adopting MSI's alternative corporate structure, and eventually became entirely self-sufficient. In the coming years, many of these townships managed to eke by, where otherwise they might have starved. Bolstered by her status as savior of humanity, Lilia Hagen ushered Sublight Salvage to a new golden age. Her company grew bolder and more transparent over time, muddying the line between lawful and criminal for the entire colony. The Sublight family would thrive for years to come. The collapse of Edgewater left its workers bereft of any purpose in life. Most of them made their way to Adelaide Medevit's camp, hoping to ingratiate themselves into her favor. Adelaide accepted only a few to her community. The rest were turned away and likely died of starvation. Nevertheless, Adelaide's camp grew into a well-established town. Adelaide McDevitt refused to cooperate with the ongoing effort to save Halcyon from collapse. A sympathetic deserter stole a copy of her research and delivered it to the Hope's scientists. It is unclear how useful Adelaide's research was. An optimistic estimate suggests her work may have bought Halcyon another few years of survival. Adelaide would never know. She died that winter. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the Board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. The Rizzo's company in Halcyon dissolved after the collapse of the Board. Needless to say, the launch of Spectrum Brown was indefinitely delayed. A stockpile of Spectrum Brown remains buried deep beneath the ruins of the old distillery, abandoned to time and attrition. With the dissolution of the Board, Ruth Bellamy found herself without the two constants in her life: Byzantine culture and her sister Belinda. In the face of this new reality, she struggled to find a direction for her life. The colony had moved on from Halcyon Helen and would require new heroes in the years to come. And so Ruth Bellamy decided it was time to exit stage left. She quietly disappeared from public view. The dissolution of the board did not mean the dissolution of the ambitions of Cedric Kincannon, the charismatic leader of Sublight Underground. Cedric offered Slug's transportation services to the newly thawed colonists and set to work ferrying resources and food wherever they were most needed. For better or worse, Slug headgear became fashionable in the following years. After a brief attempt at dating Helen as one person rather than two, which both Bertie and Helen found too strange, Bertie struck out on his own to try his hand at raising woolly cows. Many of his former Rangers teammates soon followed, accompanied by the woolly cow the team had originally plied with alcohol. The dairy farm thrived under Bertie's leadership and care. The Dairy Rangers privately believed that the woolly cow softened Bertie's temper considerably, although the only one brave enough to say this to his face was promptly headbutted. Due to the board's dissolution, many of the Prophet's old customers no longer found quite the same value in productivity seminars that they once had. With her business drying up, the Prophet chose to take her followers down a new path. Months later, salvagers on Eridanos found clues leading them to a seemingly abandoned bunker out in the wilderness. Inside, they discovered horribly mangled corpses, sacrificed to a blood-scrawled portrait of a sprat-headed deity. The Prophet was not among the bodies. Your influence further cemented Ellie's perspective. She understood she could never truly rely on others, so she set about making sure she wouldn't have to. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She enjoyed a long and infamous career running missions across the system. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Though Parvati eventually grew comfortable aboard the Unreliable, she never quite came out of her shell. She seemed to prefer the company of Ada to the crew, and she could often be found neck-deep in cables and grease, telling Ada funny stories from her childhood. While the colony fell into chaos, she found an island of relative peace with Ada, and they formed an unusual bond. She decided to remain aboard the Unreliable permanently as its chief and sole engineer. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, an MSI subsidiary of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He eventually came to terms with his own past, and was able to forgive the mistakes of his younger self by devoting his remaining years to serving the colony. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the Ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. In the end, Dr. Wells was able to save every scientist and engineer aboard the Hope. Over the next decade, nearly all of the Hope's remaining colonists were successfully revived. Halcyon saw a period of rapid technological and scientific advancement. Breakthroughs in dietary supplements saved the colony from starvation. Geoengineering projects and social reforms began to change the structure and character of the colony. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Today, Halcyon has stabilized. The people of the colony work hard to adapt to their new circumstances. Nearby colonies send aid and supplies. Life will never be easy in Halcyon, but for the first time in its history, there exists a sense of real, genuine hope about the future. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.